This is episode number 280 of the InnerFight podcast. My name's Marcus Smith. Massive shout out to our show sponsor, Smith St Paleo. Remember, hop over to iTunes, rate and review the podcast, and we will send you a Smith St Paleo goodie bag. Talking of Smith St Paleo, that's exactly our guest for today's show. I've got my co-host back, Andre. Mate, since you've been flitting around doing fitness-related stuff, I've recorded 5 shows. Hustling. So I need you to record 5 shows.
Don't worry. Got it all set up.
So when I go on holiday, you need to just do shows. Mate, Paleo, who else to bring onto the show but the queen of...
Smith St Paleo.
Smith Street. Holly Smith. Purdy Smith. We'll get there one day. Yes, folks, it is my wife. And yes, we sort of do have the same surname, but I guess that's a little bit complicated. Thank you for joining us.
Pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to be here. I'll give this thing a little bit of context because Andre's not very well prepared. No, he's very well prepared. He's been up since early this morning.
Doing all the fitness.
But guys, this is it. No matter where you are in the world, no matter if you're here in Dubai, no matter if you're globally, no matter if you're on Mars, if you listen, it means you probably have the internet. If you have the internet, it means you probably have an email address. All you need to do is flick us an email, winning@innerfight.com, and we will send you the Paleo Challenge booklet. Paleo Challenge kicks off on the 1st of January. I reckon that's going to, before we go into it, how many people do you think will start the Paleo Challenge on the 2nd of January? Because they're so hungover and they want to eat shit food on the 1st.
99%.
99, mate.
And only 0.1% will be you and Holly.
Oh, what are you planning on doing?
I might be skipping this one.
You might be skipping this one. So the Paleo Challenge kicks off on the 1st of January. It runs for 31 days of January. The coolest thing is, within the booklet, we'll be able to absolutely expose people that do not start on the first day, because every single day they have a journal to fill in which tells us what they ate for breakfast, lunch, dinner, what they drank, tells us all of their details. And because I planned this super well, the 1st of January I made sure was a Sunday, and one of the rules, which we'll go into the rules later, is that every single Sunday, to get an extra point, they have to do their body analysis.
Okay.
So what that does...
1st of January, they're going to come into the gym.
Yes. So what that means is that the 1st of January, I'm teaching the class that day. It's going to be a 10 a.m. class. And if you want, I might actually increase the bonus points for it. If you want the bonus points for the Paleo Challenge on the first day, you need to do your body analysis. So you have to do your body analysis every Sunday, and it just so, I didn't arrange it, just so happens that the first Sunday in January, the first day of January is a Sunday. That's how it kicks off.
Oh, the tough one.
We'll go into some of the details a little bit later and obviously get some thoughts. I think one of the interesting things is sort of to look back at what really paleo is, maybe a definition of paleo or some of the information like, what's paleo? Holly of Smith St Paleo. Tell us, I don't know, either tell us the geek version or tell us so that me and Andre will understand.
Let's take both of them.
Okay, let's take this is so the geek one is the test one.
I don't have a geek version prepared.
Okay.
But it's just basically stripping back the way you eat.
Right.
Just taking it back to how, I mean, it's based on like caveman eating, but
right.
Obviously food was very different back then. But it's just food groups that they would recognise. So your fruits, your vegetables, meats, good fats, good healthy fats, nuts and seeds.
Yep.
So that means we're cutting out toxic oils, we're cutting out grains and legumes and like processed food.
Okay, let's just break it down a little bit from the start. We're cutting out, one of the things you said was grains. Mm-hmm. Where do we find grains?
Where?
Yes.
So that's your breads, your pastas, baked goods, that sort of thing.
Rice.
Yeah.
Lentils are...
They're a legume, so they're
okay.
So that's also we're cutting out lentils, beans, and rice as well. But rice is one of those funny ones. It's brown rice is the bad one because all the bad things that are in rice is in that brown husk. The white rice.
So when everyone says, go
Yeah.
for the healthy option, eat, what do they say, whole grain rice or eat brown rice, that's the one you should have.
Yeah, but if you're
Myth.
doing huge amounts of exercise like you guys do, and you do
Sure.
need some
Excused.
Buff.
Yes.
something extra, then a bit of white rice is okay. It's just basically empty calories. Like
Right.
it doesn't have a huge amount of vitamins, minerals, those sorts of things.
Yeah.
But it'll fill you up for the volume of work that you're doing. But
So-
if you're doing the Paleo Challenge in January, we're
Yeah.
suggesting that you avoid the rice and find an alternative like a cauliflower or a broccoli rice.
Yeah.
So first thing that people need to kiss goodbye to, I think some of the hardest things there is sort of the breads, the pastas, all baked goods, all of that
Yeah.
kind of stuff is just gone straight away.
That's usually the first response people say is like, oh my God, I can't go without bread.
Yeah.
That's the one.
I don't get it. Bread. How can you get excited about bread?
Yeah.
It's-
Well, Ben Davies, like, what's your best cheat meal, mate? A loaf of bread and a stick of butter. It's like, right? Ice cream, cakes, pizza, all that good
Bread.
stuff. I want a loaf of bread, mate.
Because that's the thing. People are getting up. They're having toast for breakfast. They're
Yeah.
having a sandwich at
Yeah.
lunch.
Yeah.
If you haven't filled up properly in your dinner,
Yeah.
then there's always like. You go out for dinner, there's a bread basket on the table. What's the first thing everyone reaches for? They go out for dinner, they're hungry,
Yeah.
and then they fill up on that before they've eaten any of the good stuff. So
Especially in France, where some of my family comes from.
Yeah.
Bread is like
Number one.
top of the list.
Yeah. I actually remember when we were in Paris and we went to a nice restaurant and ordered foie gras.
Yeah.
And obviously they eat it with like a loaf of bread and stuff. And the guy brought the bread and sort of said, or we didn't eat it or something. And couldn't figure out how we'd eaten the foie gras with no bread. It's like, ate it. They normally give like 3 bits of lettuce and it's quite nice, some green stuff. Going to Wikipedia for almost more of a geeky definition, the Paleolithic diet is based mainly on foods presumed to be available in Paleo to Paleolithic humans. Like you said, Holly, caveman times. Wide variability exists in the way the diet is interpreted. However, the diet typically includes vegetables, fruits, nuts, roots, meat, and organ meats, while excluding foods such as... I think this is quite interesting. This is bang on, like obviously what you said is correct, but it lists them very, very simply here. Excluding foods such as dairy products, grains, sugars, legumes. You've got all of these, right, Holly? Processed oils, that was your first one. Salt, and alcohol or coffee. We might come back to the alcohol or coffee later, because that's just raised an eyebrow there. The diet is based on avoiding not just modern processed food, but rather the food that humans began eating after the Neolithic Revolution, where humans transitioned from hunter-gatherer lifestyles to settled agriculture. The ideas behind the diet can be traced to Walter Velton and have been popularized more recently in the best-selling books of Lauren Cadane. So that's what the interweb says about the paleo diet. But one thing as well I want to just jump into, and it said there, and you said it pretty much straight off, Holly, processed foods. Talk to us a little bit about processed foods.
well, there's just so much of it about. I think if you went into...
But what is it? What is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so... well, it's like 70% of your supermarket. So it's things that are in a package a lot of the time. They've got a lot of preservatives, sugars, salts. It's so they've got a long shelf life.
Yeah.
So it's not just,
It's not fresh. It's
exactly.
Right. So if we, because I think sometimes, obviously without insulting our listeners, it's easier to dish out like an idiot's guide to things. So if we're to put how to identify processed foods, the idiot's guide, anything that's in a tin or a jar,
can
is that a generalization?
It is a generalization because there's a lot of good things that come
Coconut
in a jar.
milk
like
comes in, yeah,
like
right.
your nut butters come in a jar. Your coconut oil will come in a jar or something like that. So it's just being smart with flipping it over and reading labels.
Yeah.
You don't have to be an expert. You don't need to know all, that nutritional guideline, but you just read the ingredients. And if it's a big long list of things, and it's things you don't recognise, and it's things that have got an E number or something next to it, then you leave it there.
Right. So that's I think one of the things that I quite like what you just said there is if you don't recognise the ingredients or if it's the names, like if you can't pronounce the name or something like that, it's probably come from that process category, right?
Exactly.
So that's sort of the
also anything that says like light or
right.
low fat.
Yeah.
Leave that there as well.
Leave that out.
Coca-Cola Light, for example.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and
It's a normal Coca-Cola, okay?
That's a good one. Then, I mean, if we look into it, a lot of people might say, okay, they've got it now. We cut that. We don't shop there. No Coca-Cola, no Coca-Cola Light, no. What exactly do we eat?
I think everyone focuses on what they can't eat,
Right.
and then they don't think about all the amazing stuff that they can eat.
Okay.
So you're kind of sticking to the outskirts of your supermarket, which is your fruits and your vegetables and your meat. And that's what I said, like nuts and seeds. And that includes all your nut butters, and that goes into your good fats, which is your avocados and your coconut oils and coconut butters, things like that. And if you can check out my website, there's so many alternatives.
Shameless plug.
Yeah, it was a shameless plug, but it is true.
Hustle is real. We're going to come and we're going to promote the hell out of you in a minute, but you just sort of jump the gun. Oh yeah, guys, just check out my website. Everything's there. I have to go now. Holy shit. Anyway, that's the way it goes, I guess. Anyway, sorry to detract. Back to what you were saying. Okay.
So there's like a zillion things you can eat. And
Just kind of focus on those things instead of just seeing that big list of, I can't have this and this and this.
Yeah, because that was the thing. Like everyone would be like, oh, what are you eating? When I was at work, and they'd be like, what are you eating? And how did you make that? And then I'd explain the way I ate and what I sort of believed in, and they were like, oh no, I couldn't go without bread and pasta. Oh no, I couldn't do that. I could, and they were always focused on those 2-3 things that they were meant to avoid, instead of thinking, oh, but I can have a steak, I can have amazing salads, I can have nut butters, and then there's another shameless plug, but there's there's some cakes and breads and things like that that I've made, and there's an alternative for everything. Yeah. It's like when you're having pasta, are you actually enjoying the pasta, or are you enjoying what you've put on the pasta?
Right.
So, because the pasta...
Sorry, you'll be able to answer that.
I mean, I know it's like mentally it's like this comfort food that people have.
Yeah.
It's cheap.
Really,
it's easy. It's simple. I think it almost comes down to that. Like, everyone thinks, I know how to cook pasta and I know how to cook rice, and that's cheap and it's so easy and accessible.
True.
But a lot of paleo-friendly foods are just as easy.
But you wouldn't sit down to just a bowl of pasta that you've boiled up with nothing on it. So it's not actually the pasta. I might think
No,
you'd never do that.
Only after 1 month of paleo.
No, you'd never do that.
But generally, there's no flavour in that. So I don't think it's actually that people are liking. No. It's the stuff that they're putting on. Yeah. And if the stuff that you're putting on it is like a tomato-based sauce with vegetables and olives and things like that, then...
So maybe it comes down to also what people are brought up with. I mean, if they come from a family that had rice every single day and pasta every single day, and then all of a sudden you're 20 years old, you move out, and you're like...
No, that's true.
Oh, now I need to cook myself.
Now I need to cook.
What am I used to? Rice, pasta.
That's one of the things. Jumping back to the challenge, I want to explain how it works, and then I think what's going to be useful now that we've given it the paleo a little bit of context, and we're going to explain the challenge is maybe trying to anticipate some of the challenges that people will have. We just touched on a few there, so let's explain what happens here. There's rules in the booklet. Anyone who emails us will get the booklet. You can join the challenge. It's a point scoring system for each day of the week. And on a Sunday, there's an extra bonus point, like I said. There's 3 points available in each day. If you eat pure paleo for that day, which you have to log and you have to send us on a weekly basis, you get 1 point. If you do the InnerFight class or if you do the workout from InnerFight online, or if you do a workout in your own gym, as long as it's a workout and a proper workout, you get 1 point. And if you do both of those, so if you eat right and you do the workout, you get a bonus point. So there's a max 3 points per day. On a Sunday, you can get an extra bonus point if you do your body analysis. Body analysis must be done on a proper machine and the report sent to us as well. So essentially once a week, you're going to send us a report. You're going to get a PDF which is fully editable, which you can write your results in. You can email that back to us on a weekly basis, and you can leave your body analysis at the gym. If you're external, you can email us your body analysis. So 3 points available on a day. On a Sunday, there's 4 points available. And the bottom line here is the one with the most points at the end wins the challenge. However, every single time you eat or drink something that is against the guidelines, you lose a point.
And you have to tell us about it.
And you have to be honest. This is really based on honesty. To be honest, it's honesty. It's really based on honesty. Every time you drink something that's against the guidelines, you lose a point. One ice cream would be 1 point. One can of soda would be 1 point. A pizza or a slice of pizza is 1 point. I think one of the things where people, and that's why we've made it like this, because I think sometimes people will say, I went out for breakfast and I had pancakes, and so that day was a write-off. It was a cheat day, so then I had a burger and I had pizza for dinner, right? We sort of heard stuff like that before. Yeah. So it's like, okay, if you've
ruined your day, so you just keep going.
Ruined it, and then just going to ruin your life.
Or nothing.
The logic is just, it's like if you drop your phone and you don't break the screen, do you just keep dropping it?
She should come on more often. She's got some game, that's for sure. But I think that's one of the things that's super important. So we understand that we don't want you to break. We don't want you to cave in. But sometimes I think people will say, oh, I've screwed this day up. This day's a write-off. If you've screwed up once, you've had pancakes for breakfast, we'll just class that as 1 point. And we'll move on and just make sure you go back to paleo eating for lunchtime. I think that's the really important.
If you do buckle and have the one slice of pizza, though, don't go, oh, I've already done a point, so I might as well just eat the whole pizza.
Yeah. I think that's actually maybe written a little bit badly in our rule book. It says one pizza or a slice of pizza equals 1 point deduction. Should maybe change the rule book there slightly a little bit. So that's what we're looking for. The rule book, and it becomes your journal, and you get to track it and all of the details in there. Then comes the question, really, like, what should I cook? Okay, this is your platform to plug your website as much as you want.
They know what to buy.
They know what to buy. You've got time. So, but what we've done is we've put together some recipes for this from your site. I'll give you a plug. You've got over 100 recipes on the site. People should get their ass there, because this is one of the things we hear a lot. I don't know what to cook. I don't know how to cook. You've taken food and you made it super simple. There's over 100 recipes from starters, main course, dessert, sweets. I don't know what. It's super simple.
Yeah.
Talk us through a few of the recipes that we've got for the challenge, what they are, and just a little bit about them. I think that's a good idea, because we've given some ideas that people can cook.
Yeah, I mean, there's, like you said, there's over 100 recipes. I think we're getting close to 150 now. So, and that's why I started it in the first place, was people were coming in, they wanted to change their life, they were like exercising, but then of course everyone starts having steamed fish and broccoli every night, and then no one can sustain that. I couldn't sustain it, and I love healthy food.
Yeah, right.
And then so that's why I started. Like, I'm like, oh well, I made this last night, or I made this last week, and then I started emailing some of the members, and then and then it just grew and grew and grew from that. So it was just it became like it was fun for me, and it became a challenge for me to keep food interesting and tasty while following the guidelines of paleo. So you can follow any of the recipes on there. They're all paleo compliant. We've made some suggestions in the booklet for some of the simple, straightforward ones, and also ones that generally a lot of my recipes are for, like, say, would feed 4 to 6.
Right.
So you can either feed your family on it, or if you're just a couple or a single person, then a lot of the meals will freeze, and they'll also, you'll be prepared then for a few days on the go.
So whet our taste buds a little bit. There's a salmon on there.
Yeah, we've got a really nice salmon dish, which salmon itself is really straightforward to eat, to make, and is super tasty.
Yeah.
But we've just tried to elevate it a little bit with a nice nut crust. It's got some pine nuts and coriander, and some almonds and parsley, and we've teamed that with any vegetables, and you're good to go. I think I've put it with a nice carrot puree with some tahina in it, so there's some good healthy fats involved.
Right.
And the manual is really detailed, and
everything's
everyone
really
can do it.
I would like to think that I've written it in a way that everyone can follow it.
So all the 22-year-old just moved out of the parents' place can follow it,
that's
right?
Stereotype.
Well, why don't you let me know, Dre? Let me know how you get on.
I'll test it.
The cool thing as well is those recipes that are in the booklet, they're clickable, so you could just click on them and follow through to the website, and you'll get the details. Another thing that's super cool, which is the first time that this has been announced, is that a lot of these meals are going to be available for purchase at the gym.
Yay.
So you're going to be able to come to the gym. The meals are going to be here. They're going to be stored properly. Yes, we do everything professionally and by license. So don't worry, you're not going to get food poisoning or anything like that. You're going to be able to come in. You're going to be able to buy one of the meals should you be a little bit time poor or just not be able to cook it. I think some people.
So now that we've let everyone know that they're here, I'll tell them what the other ones are.
Yeah,
so we've got.
That's what I was going to.
Okay. So we've got a steak with a chimichurri sauce.
Yep.
With sweet potato. We're also doing some really good meatballs with spicy vegetables. So it's got carrot and sweet potato and zucchini and everything in there.
Yep.
We are also doing... Oh, hang on. I'm just trying to think. I forgot.
Lamb kofta with couscous.
Ah, yeah. Thank you. Lucky you're here.
I just heard it on the grapevine.
Lamb kofta with couscous and a tahina lemon sauce. We are also doing a chicken satay with cauliflower rice.
Wow. That one's super good. I had that. I had another test that the other day. That's one of my favorites, actually.
Yeah, that one's pretty popular.
Yeah.
So, get your orders in for that one.
Yeah.
So we do like a satay sauce, but we base it on almond butter instead of the peanuts. Is that?
I think that's about 6.
That's about 6, I think.
So all these 6 meals would be available to purchase in the gym from when?
From the 2nd of Jan, because I don't think the food delivery company... The kitchen will deliver on the 1st, but we'll sort that out.
A little hustle from them, though.
Yeah.
Spicy Spanish chicken with romesco sauce and roasted vegetables.
So you can get them all.
And do you pre-order? How does it work? Take us through.
You can. Yeah, that's a good question. You can order in advance, or there will be a certain amount of stock at the gym on those days or each day that you can take. But once it's sold, it's obviously sold. So, for example, we look at the chicken satay. We'll have 10 portions of chicken satay here. It'll get here early morning, so it'll be available for the morning guys. If the morning guys buy it, you're out of luck. So we need to get orders about 5 days in advance to be able to give them. Same as if you're ordering any meal company, you need to order sort of a week in advance or 5 days in advance so that we can give them to the kitchen to prepare. So our kitchens are ready, and basically then you can just pick it up in the morning and go.
Awesome.
So it's obviously, I think people will want to try it before they commit to ordering. So you'll have to take potluck at the start, and we'll have about a dozen of each every day, and people will be able to pick them up as they go to work, or if you're finishing at night, it'll still be here. It'll be nice and chilled, and it's, as I said, it's stored properly so that you can basically just pick it up and go for your dinner. I think that's one of the challenges as well. People finish the gym late at night, they're hungry, they've had a hard day's work, people are not really that keen to go home and cook. So, and if you wanted, you could pick up your lunch and your dinner. You could take 2 meals. So that's how that whole delivery process or make it easy. We were talking about something earlier about people breaking, people sort of going to that cheat meal. what we generally see is that it's quite sugar related. It's quite sweet. Talk us through, Holly, aside from obviously the Smith St Paleo balls that are available at InnerFight and a few other gyms have been super successful for people for plugging that sweet gap. Talk us through some other things that you've put together that are also in the booklet that are, I guess, easy for people to make and quite a good substitute. And what level is, I think this is something maybe we have to define, what level is too much or not enough for the challenge? We'll have to think about that one. That's maybe something that I hadn't put together, but will be in the booklet. So talk us through some of the sweet treats.
There's loads on there because I love baking, and I've got brownies and slices and cookies and cakes, but I think people have got to understand that it's still a treat, even though it's a paleo treat. It's a lot better for you. It's still a treat.
Right.
Just because you've made a batch of brownies and it's
Classic.
made with almond meal and coconut oil. There's still a sweetener in there, whether it's dates or honey or maple syrup, which are a more natural, unprocessed sweetener, but they're still a sugar and they're still in that group. So just making the switch of having a teaspoon of sugar in your cup of tea every day to a teaspoon of honey, it's still a sweetener.
Right.
So you're still trying to cut that down.
Yeah.
But if you are having that craving and you feel like you're going to fall off the wagon, then it's much better to have a paleo treat than it is to have something
let's
you've got
take
at a coffee shop.
A panel decision on this, because I have to amend the rules of the book to stipulate what it should be. In your opinion, Holly, how many of these treats am I allowed a day? I can have one for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Depends on the size of it, right?
Yeah. So what would be
I think for the challenge, do your best to cut out as much sugar as you can.
Right.
But I think if you had one a day
of,
I'm saying like one ball, or if you make the brownies, one brownie, like in a normal brownie size.
I was going to say, because if I was going to make the brownies, that would be one serving. So that's
and
one slice of pizza,
one pizza. Same. Okay, Dre, what would be your sort of take on that? Would you be on the same sort of route, or would you? Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a classic thing that everyone wants to go paleo and then they start baking.
Yeah.
I mean, I jumped on the same wagon a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
That's what everyone
Baked
does.
once and just made loads of paleo cakes and had all of them in one day.
Yeah.
And was so paleo.
Yeah.
And so healthy.
So healthy. Yeah.
And I think everyone kind of does that. So just stick to one a day or just a little treat.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is what everyone does. As soon as they go, I'm going paleo. Yeah. The first thing they Google is desserts and sweets, and I mean, there's so many on the internet of and I make them because I've always loved baking, and I just get a lot of joy out of baking, and I love bringing in food for you guys and for Marcus and everything, and I'm a feeder, so I love people enjoying my food.
Don't you stop.
And I love it when I make something and people are like, "That's paleo, really?" So I get a lot of joy out of that.
if we really wind back on that, Holly, I think that's really where where probably Smith St Paleo started originally. Like we were both trying to, not that we ate a lot of sweets, but we're like, wow, we can have something that's a little bit sweet but doesn't have that refined sugar in it, or isn't an ice cream, isn't a chocolate bar, and that's where we started to look at alternatives. So I think everyone jumps in on the same end, don't they?
And it's definitely about retraining your taste buds.
Yeah.
Because now when I have my treats or a paleo treat, that does have a level of sweetness, but it's a lot less than when you go, I don't know, to a coffee shop and have a piece of cake or a commercial chocolate bar.
Yeah.
And now I can't even imagine eating a Snickers or eating a Mars bar.
Come on, imagine it. Come on.
That would be gross.
No,
just imagine.
for you guys, I know, but for me personally, I can't. Like, I think, oh yeah, I'll have a bit of that, and then I don't know. No,
It
it's
doesn't
just
excite you.
It doesn't. It's just too sweet.
Yeah.
And if we go out for dinner and I think, oh, we're going to have a cheat day and
Yeah.
I'm going to order dessert, and I'm like, yes, and we
Two
order
bottles
dessert,
of
and
red
it's we
That's
order the
okay.
dessert, and
Yeah.
it's just no, I really don't want it. It's just too sweet.
Yeah.
So it is about retraining your taste buds.
We've talked about the rules. We've talked about solutions. We've talked about what paleo is. What we haven't spoken about is almost a little bit why we're really doing this. I think that's quite like
The
that's
whole
where
point.
what's the whole point of it? It's not just because we want to be nasty, and we all understand that processed foods needs to cut out. So I think that really comes back to I would sum it up really in two things. Like, what can we? I think first of all, what can we expect to feel like?
Well,
Because change your petrol to diesel, your car feels different. So
Yeah.
what can we expect to feel like?
Well, from my personal experience of changing to eating this way, like I feel a lot less bloated.
Right.
I feel like I've got a lot of energy. I sleep really well.
Right.
These were all things that I found. Like I changed to paleo not because I had any intolerances or illnesses
No.
or
Right.
anything like that. I did what everyone has done, gone on a holiday, had a massive blowout, came back feeling terrible, and I was
Yeah.
like, right, I'm eating clean for a month.
Yeah.
And I did that.
4 years later.
Yeah, even more, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like 5 or 6 years later, and I felt so amazing in that month that I just continued on with it.
I think many athletes are or many people in general are afraid of this missing out on being energized because
Yeah.
there isn't all those freaking carbs and calories
Yeah.
from the rice and pasta that we
Yeah.
all are taught that
Yeah,
will give us energy.
I feel like I had more energy. Like at the time, I was a flight attendant, so I was working crazy hours, and I was being forced to be awake 24 hours in a row, and I was doing ULR flights to Australia and America, and I don't know. I just felt that I had a lot more energy. I slept better for my job.
Yeah.
And and the bloating, like I felt a lot better for that as well.
Do you think? Or this is what I think. I think sometimes people feel or would say that they don't feel bloated, and not everyone wants to sit around and say, "Yeah, I have loads of gas." But I think sometimes when you, or from my experience, what I've seen when you remove these things, when you remove the grains, when you remove the dairy, the sugars, and then you add them back, then you really feel the difference in bloating. So, you said immediately you felt less bloated?
Yeah, I mean, with my job, I used to take a skirt that was like a size bigger,
Right.
just so I could have a bigger waistband.
Yeah.
And I'd get the skirt taken in, but I'd leave the waistband a size bigger just to allow for the swelling.
Wow.
And I always thought it was because of the flying, which
yeah.
of course it had something to do with it.
Yeah, right.
But when I cut out bread and pasta and all the grains,
Yes.
as well as dairy and everything,
Yes.
that didn't happen anymore.
Wow.
Very cool.
So something I was putting down to the flying was actually probably more a combination of the food and the flying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it was at the point where I'd get to a destination and I couldn't leave the hotel for like an hour or two because I couldn't get my jeans up
Really?
because I was swollen.
That's a little bit of a problem.
So that kind of leads us into the benefits of it.
Yeah,
Other
so-
than you don't have to stay in the hotel room for
For
1
2
hour.
hours trying to dress yourself. Yeah.
I know, it sounds crazy, but that's exactly what used to happen. And so they're the benefits that I found. So I can only hope that people are going to find that in January as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might not happen in the first day or the first week, but definitely by week 3 and 4, I hope
to
that
feel.
people are feeling more energized and
Yeah.
sleeping better and improvements in their digestion.
Yeah.
What about some ways to sort of? I know a lot of people, myself included, respond well to numbers. So if we said, like, how do we really measure the efficiency, the efficacy of moving on to a program like this or changing a way of eating, what ideas do we have about that? I mean, you've said energy levels, sleep levels. Obviously, we've included the body analysis. So we definitely, I think almost in like, I'm expecting over 90% of the people to see if they follow this properly, to see a weight loss in fat. Sure. Yeah. I'm expecting to see like 90% of people will lose. I think, Andre, obviously, if you ate 100% paleo, I don't know if you'd lose any more fat.
When I lived with you guys for a month,
like
I did my in-body test, and it literally said, I think 2.8 kilos of fat in my body.
So you even lost fat,
and now there's like 6 kilos.
Right,
and that's 3 months later of no paleo.
So number one, like if we look at number one measure, we definitely see reduced body fat.
For sure.
Yeah.
If you asked every single person that came in the gym or goes to the gym or gives us stuff about their health, would you like to lose some body fat? You're going to lose it.
Yeah.
So that's number one. Any other ideas about how we can measure those other things? Or, I don't know, if people...
The analysis machine is like, that's got to be the best way.
Yeah. I don't know if people, like, mentally, like, if you say to people now, I mean, in the weeks... before you started the Paleo Challenge, I don't know, maybe were you waking up in the night a lot?
Yeah.
Were you having disturbed sleep?
There's some apps and things that you could use on your phone, isn't? Didn't you used to use one like Sleep Tracker or something like that?
Yeah, some sleep tracker, Fitbit sleep tracker would tell me.
See how you feel in the night. You still go up and pee in the night. All those things. So you wake up. Like all those things are definitely affected by how you eat.
Yeah. I think another thing as well, and we tested it quite recently, the CrossFit Total. So a strength test, I think that's something that maybe we'll include towards the end of January in our class programming so people can retest. And I know we did that probably be about a 2.5 month difference. So you've got a month of it in paleo eating and a month and a bit of it outside of paleo eating. We'll see those strength numbers. And then maybe even like if you are looking at performance, maybe pick a cardiovascular task. Whether it's I mean, the day that we're recording this, there was a 2K run in the program. What was your time for that? Maybe we'll stick that in at the end of January again, and see what those measures can be.
Also, think you can look at like the bigger picture, like why today that we have so many sicknesses, as cancer and all this, and how many people die of all these sicknesses. Yeah. And I think in general that can come down to what you eat, like your lifestyle choices, like just having all that processed food with all that crap. And I know there's a bunch of research, a bunch of scientific things behind it, and like they have done several tests with different families eating non-processed and processed food, and just seeing like the difference. It's crazy.
One of the things as well, which I think is slightly measurable, is almost people's skin quality, a little bit of glow as well. So why not? And of course, body shape. These are two things. Take a picture of your face and take a picture of your body, just in your trunks. Those ones, you know the ones. Just take those pictures of yourself before on the 31st or on the morning of the 1st, and maybe take some pictures at the end of the month as well. I think there's some.
Ask your spouse or your kids.
See
if they see the difference.
See if they see, do you actually want to sleep with me or not? Anyway, that's a pretty good wrap on that. I think we've pretty much got everything there. Remember, if you do want to get involved, just drop us an email, winning@innerfight.com. We'll send you over the booklet. It's a free challenge to get involved with for the love of our heart. Obviously, if you want to reward us for that, you can reward Holly. You can purchase some of her goods from the gym. Those balls are available at this gym and a few others, and definitely with those meal deliveries or the meals being available at the gym as well.
And you still have a chance to get some free if you rate our podcast.
And you still have a chance to get some free.
Go to iTunes, rate the podcast, write a little review, get a free bag of goodies.
There we go.
Awesome.
That's it for this show. Holly, thanks a lot for coming on. Thanks a lot for all of your knowledge on paleo.
Very good.
Learned something new. Yeah, always. Until next time, folks, take care.